This will be the 50th video on restoring the Galaxie. So I'm going to do a giveaway today commemorating the 50th video of the Galaxie. So this is what I'm giving away, as you've been seeing, and I'm going to show it to you a little bit more in detail. And to win this, whoever guesses the weight of it the closest without going over in pounds and ounces or in kilograms wins it. I'm going to look at all the comments tomorrow, and like I say, the closest one without going over the weight of it wins it. Now back to work on the car. I'm going to show you what I replaced one of the wheel bearings. I'll show you why here. The outer wheel bearing, the race, this is the race. you just take a hammer and a punch, and you can get the lip, this lip right here. This is in this way. You can tap them out with that lip. Just, hit it one side, then the other, back and forth until they're out. But the bearing had a little mark in it. Let me see if I can find it again. I think right there. I think that shows up, and I can feel with my fingernail, I can feel a little mark on the one side of it. This side's okay, but right there, there's a little, I don't know if that little area shows up, but I just didn't want to take a chance, because when you can feel something in the race, that means that the bearing is bad, and I can feel it. You can see a little discoloration there, and sometimes discoloration doesn't really mean anything, but I always like to take my fingernail on those areas, and I can feel something I don't like. So I picked up a new bearing there. Let's see, there's the numbers. Let's see if I can get it without the light reflecting on it. So I went to a place called Bearing Services, aka Detroit Ball Bearing, and you're looking at $14 for new bearings. So it's not, breaking the bank, and I just feel better having a new bearing in there. So I'm going to pound the race in, and then repack the bearings and install this drum. There's what a brand new bearing race looks like. And I'll get my tool. I'll put a little smear of oil or grease on this side, and then I have tools to put that in. I'll do a little video of it. This is the bearing installer, and I can use this on the press, or I can use it in the hammer, and I put a little grease on there and a little grease on the race that where the race goes down in there. And like I say, you can tap them in with the hammer, or you can press them in. And that looks like it's in all the way. I'm just going to hit it a couple more times just to make sure. You can definitely tell a difference when you're bottoming that race out. So there we go. New race, and I'll repack the bearings. We'll put this on the car. You can see on the back side here, maybe see how you can see the back of the bearing there? You take your punch and you put it up against, I don't know if I can, but you do like this side, then that side, then that side, and just kind of walk it out. So the other bearing is like brand new, and this bearing is brand new now. So I just, if I take this car on a road trip, I just don't want issues with a bearing heating up and burning out or anything. So that's why when I found that little, I always look at them and run my fingernails on them. If there's any question whatsoever in my mind that a bearing's bad, I just replace it. They're very inexpensive, very easy to replace, and good preventative maintenance. Just peace of mind knowing that the bearing's good. Both the bearings are all nicely packed with new grease. I'm going to put a little grease in the hub here. This way you can kind of see what I do. Use this grease because it's good clean grease. The bearing, like I say, was all full of grease, so I just like to get it on the outside too. Then I kind of work that up and around in there so it doesn't get pushed out by the spindle. And I like to put some grease around this side of the bearing. Like so. And then I gotta wipe up to put the grease seal in. New grease seal, which I've already taken out of the box. And then a little grease in the rubber part of the sealing surface so it has lubrication for many years of good service. If you run the rubber dry on the spindle, your grease seal will be garbage in no time, so always make sure you have some grease in the little groove in the grease seal. And I'll do the same with this side. I'll put some grease down in here. Make sure there's nothing. Whoops, sorry, knocking you silly there again. Just like to give it a quick wipe. Grease around in there, and then I'll take this and some of this and wipe it on the spindle, and it's ready to install. There we go, the driver's side is together too. Brake lines fit really nice. Really happy with them. They're bent pretty much all exactly the same as the originals. And I put the other one on, but I still don't have the hose. They shipped it today, so I should have it in a few days. And went around and replaced the grease zerts. I put 90-degree fittings here. They were straight. I just think it'd be easier to grease, but I replaced the zerts on all the joints because when I greased a couple of grease squirted back out when I was done, and it's because there's a little ball, spring-loaded ball in there, and they just, after a while, they get corroded or crud in there, or the spring gets bad or whatever. Anyway, they just squirt the grease back out after you grease them, so I did place all the fittings. And yeah, so I'm gonna wait to do the rear brake line. The rear line is original line still on the car, and I'm not gonna do that until I tear into the rear brakes. I can do the rear brake with the engine in, the rear brake line, but I wanted to put all this in before I put the engine in. I wanted to change these, get, you know, the steering gear on. I want to get the brake booster and the wiper motor and all the wiper transmission back in, and the trim back on before I put the engine in, because it'll just make life easier when I can stand here. You know, I can stand here with the spray gun. There's screws and I sealed them too, so no chance on them leaking. Yeah, I know the light's not good in here, but you can see the brake line and the ball joint. I got to sand and paint behind where this fender bolt's on yet. I missed a little spot there, but I'll get that before I put the fender back on. New grease fittings on the tie rod ends, and all the ball joint, everything has new fittings. Don't forget about the giveaway again I'm doing on this video. This is my 50th video on the Galaxie, and I'm giving this away for the 50th video. The first person that can guess the actual weight, as close to the actual weight as possible without going over the weight, will receive this. I'm only going to give one away, obviously, so it's going to be the first person from this video that gets it, and one guess per person. If you send multiple, that doesn't count, so I'm only going to use the first one, first guess. And like I say, the closest in pounds and ounces or in grams will win this. That's going to be it for this video. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see this car eventually go back together and run and drive down the road, subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching.